Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and honor to welcome you to Ilia State University. Today we have a very distinguished delegation from Korea visiting us, and we have quite a full program which has both ceremonial parts and also kind of substantive parts, and I'm looking forward to both of them. I would like to welcome our colleagues from Korea, from Seoul National University. We have the Dean of the Medical College, we have the President of the University Hospital, we have excellent colleagues from the medical school, and I would like to say that this is a very important event for us for two reasons. First of all, it's a continuation of our collaboration and cooperation with Korean institutions, and I would like to thank especially the Korean embassy in Tbilisi, in Georgia, for being very productive partner in that respect. I would soon ask Ambassador Mr. Kim Se-wong to say a couple of words. And in the framework of this cooperation, we have, for example, started teaching of Korean language. We are also helping our embassy in Korea to organize teaching courses of Georgian in Korean universities. And we hope that the cooperation in medical sphere will be an extremely important step in developing this budding, let's say, friendship and collaboration. And the second reason is that we at Ilia State University are extremely interested in especially medical field, because we are in the process of developing our own medical program. We have had a medical research institute and a PhD program associated with it for a number of years, but now we are spreading and going in depth, and we hope that very much that the cooperation with our distinguished colleagues from Korea, from Seoul National University, will bring us further in that respect. So I'm sure that this event will be just a beginning of the very important processes, both in Georgia and between Georgia and Korea, to strengthen our ties and to make the cooperation even more productive and fruitful for both sides. And now it's my pleasure to give the floor to the Ambassador of Korea to Georgia, Mr. Kim Se-wong. Please.
Actually, today, 1st of March, is 100 years of anniversary, our first March movement in Korea under the Japanese colonialism. So I think today is very important and significant day. So, Honorable Rector Mr. Giga Jedania and Dean of Seoul National University College of Medicine Mr. Chin Chan-soo, and President of Seoul National University Hospital Mr. So Chang-seok, and Director of the Inova Medical Center Mr. Gucha Juttegera-Pishli, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. I think all of you coming today to celebrate with us the signing ceremony of MOU between Ilia State University and Inova Medical Center and Seoul National University College of Medicine. Today we are witness important event signing of MOU, which will boost our cooperation. As I know, Georgian medical students are highly interested in Korea medical education programs, including exchange program or residence program. Students often sent to us, our office, questions regarding programs offered by Korean government. Through our cooperation, I hope today's event, I hope there will be a much more beneficial, mutual program that can be offered to high qualified Georgian and Korean medical students. In this regard, I want to express sincere appreciation to Mr. Giga Jedania, who is paying utmost attention and assistance in cooperation between Georgia and Korea in the field of education, not only education, also in medical field. Recently, demand for Korean language is rapidly rising in Georgia, and I'm happy to announce that thanks to Mr. Jedania, Korean language courses will be opened in the Ilia State University from March this year. The bilateral relations between Georgia and Korea have been constantly developing for past 27 years since the establishment of the diplomatic relations. Especially there was a great leap on people-to-people exchanges, tourism. Last year, almost 13 Korean people visited your beautiful country and enjoying Georgian nature, culture, and of course, wines. This figure is doubled compared to previous year, 2017. I'm sure that this positive dynamics will boost cooperation between two countries in all spheres, including culture, education, of course, medicine. Mr. Jedania said two couple of words, I'm sorry, a little bit, not more than two couple of words. Anyway, I wish take this opportunity on behalf of Korean government and people to extend our appreciation to both sides and welcome today's signing MOU. Thank you. Mabadilova. Didi Madlova.
And now we are signing actually not one but two memoranda of understanding. The one is between the Seoul National University College of Medicine, and I would like to ask Professor Shin Chang-sol to sign it with me as representing the Ilia State University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chan Su-shin, the Dean of College of Medicine, Seoul National University. I'm very happy after signing the historic memorandum between Seoul National University and Ilia State University. I understand that this memorandum is a comprehensive collaboration in terms of student education and research and the other school activities between SNU and Ilia State University. But I think we stand at the starting point for further collaboration. By further effort, we can develop other programs, including student exchange or joint degree programs or postgraduate education programs. I think our memorandum and collaboration can be further supported by the government of both sides. I just met Ms. Jashik from the parliament, and I'm going to meet the Minister of Health and Welfare of Georgia after this meeting. So today's ceremony and memorandum will be further supported by both the government and also the parliament. In this way, we can further exchange our students or faculties to develop further collaboration in terms of research as well as patient management. We already know that liver transplantation program was led by Professor Lee, who is here, which has been here for 3 or 4 years now. And we have still more chances for further collaboration in other fields of medicine, including cancer or preventive medicine in the future. I'm very honored and grateful for all the hospitality you showed me during my stay here in Georgia, my first visit, especially Honorable Rector and also the Embassy of Korea in Georgia. Thank you very much.
And it is my pleasure to give the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Chan So-shin for his for his contribution to the medicine in Georgia. Thank you very much. So now we have a second memorandum to sign, right? Yes, wonderful. This is the memorandum. This is the memorandum between three sides, actually. Seoul National University Hospital, Ilia State University, and the Innova Medical Center. And it's our great pleasure to welcome Dr. Chan Suk-soo, who will be signing from, who is the president of the University Hospital at Seoul National University, and will be signing it with us, as well as Mr. Gocha Chutgerashvili, who is the director of the Innova Medical Center. So, say a couple of words, please.
It's good to see you, everybody. I am Chang Sok-soo from Seoul National University Hospitals. I'm gynecologic doctors, usually majors in vitro fertilization and laparoscopic surgery for minimally invasive surgeries. And nowadays, I'm doing for cancer fertility saving programs for, especially for breast cancer patients, for preserving ovarian tissue cryopreservation and oocyte cryopreservations now. Maybe you have lots of breast cancer here. Maybe sometimes we can cooperate together, and sooner or later. First of all, I'm very happy to come here and to make an MOU, and I realized that this is very familiar from about 2,000 years ago, because this is the way of the Silk Road, but already we have a communication with the Silk Road personnel from 2,000 years ago, so I'm very much happy to meet you again. And I would introduce my hospitals in a very short term. Seoul National University Hospital is established in 1885 under the order of the last emperor of Joseon Dynasty in Korea. From the time on, first Seoul National University Hospital is always one of the prestigious foreigner, and never be the second tier. Always first tier and the first runner in my medical aspect, as well as worldwide. We are always in the top-notch hospitals. We have 10,000 employees, and about 1,670 beds we are allocated. And we have 750 medical personnel, with specialties themselves, and with 3 other affiliate hospitals surrounding Seoul metropolitan area. And in a total, so we have 3,500 beds we are operating together. So annual budget is about $2 billion. Usually it's not so much higher, but it's tightly controlled by the government. But it is one of the biggest hospitals in our countries. And fortunately, so we are supplied by the medical school every year about 150 well-educated, talented medical personnel from medical schools, from Dean, Professor Shin always supplies good medical students to us. So we became always, we can do everything what we want, and that's our, the present from the medical school. So I'm talking about between the medical school and hospitals, tight relationship is very much important for all of us. Like it, if we want to go longer, we have to go together. But if we go fast, depart alone, just go alone, we can go fast, but we can go together, we can go longer. So we want to go together to go longer. So I hope we have a relationship together between Georgia and Korea for making longer relationships. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now the ceremonial part, at least the first part of ceremonies is over, and we are moving to a more substantive part of our today's meeting. And I'm very glad to announce the lecture of Professor Dr. Kwang Wong Lee. MD and PhD, who is the professor at the College of Medicine at Seoul National University, and among many distinguished positions he holds, he's also Vice President of Global Planning and Development, for example, and he has been a frequent guest to Georgia doing many operations of liver transplantation and also teaching our next generation of medical students in that area. And it's a great pleasure for me to give floor to him. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Lector, and dear honorable guests and ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor to be here to present my comments on the future of Georgian liver transplantation. This is my contents. And let me start with the introduction of Seoul National University Hospital and the Seoul National University Hospital Liver Transplantation Program. Says our CEO, a little comment. Seoul National University Hospital, SNUH, is the most prestigious research and teaching hospital in Korea. SNUH consists of 4 healthcare systems, so main campus, Bundang Hospital and Borame Hospital and the Gangnam Center Healthcare Checkup Center. SNUH is the most recognized and reliable hospital in Korea. Therefore, we have been the hospital of the President of Korea. SNUH is a leader in global health business. So we have more than 30,000 foreign patients from over 80 countries per year. We are leading the way in global education and training, and we export our hospital information system, which is one of the highest level hospital system in the world. And we're also operating one hospital in Ras Al Khaimah, UAE. Now I'd like to introduce the liver transplantation program of Seoul National University Hospital. We performed the first liver transplantation in 1988. That was the first liver transplantation in Korea. We performed the first living donor liver transplant in 1999. We annually performed 150 liver transplantation. We reached 2,000 liver transplant in March last year. 2/3 are a living donor, the blue color, and 1/3 is cadaver liver transplantation. So our operation success rate of living donor liver transplantation has been more than 98%. For example, in 2013, we could discharge all living donor transplant patients without problem. This graph shows the type of incision for living donor hepatectomy. As you can see here, since 2016, we have performed pure laparoscopic living donor hepatectomy in most of cases, more than around 90%. We reached 100 cases in March 2017, and now currently we almost 300 cases we performed. And in my knowledge, we are the largest series in the world. I would like to briefly introduce our international collaboration in living donor liver transplantation. I have done more than 100 living donor liver transplant in foreign countries. The first international collaboration was Kazakhstan Astana and SMRC since 2013, and 2 hospitals in Astana as well, and 1 hospital in October Regional Hospitals. I introduced new technology in liver transplantation, such as laparoscopic living donor hepatectomy in Kazakhstan, which were the first experience in a CIS country. I also started collaboration with Myanmar since 2016. Already we performed 18 cases successfully, and now they performed 3 cases successfully by themselves. Since 2015, I have collaborated with Dr. Koba. We already performed 14 cases with 100% operational success rate. I am very proud of Dr. Koba's team for their wonderful achievement. And also, we performed 1 case of a living donor transplant successfully in Innova Clinic the day before yesterday. We have good relationship with all Georgian medical personnel. Our collaboration has been expanded into collaboration between 2 countries. A Georgian ambassador in Korea visited our hospital 3 years ago. We extended our collaboration into Innova Clinic. We performed 1 case successfully the day before yesterday. And yesterday, I gave a lecture to the medical student during a live demonstration in Ilyas State University. Today, also for further extension, we will have honorable guests from Korea and Georgia. So I'd like to move to the current status of liver transplantation in Georgia. This is a summary of current status. Some information may not correct. If something different, let me know later. In cadaveric liver transplanting program, the brain death is legally accepted, religiously accepted, theoretically accepted, however, not easy to overcome. Therefore, there's no cadaveric donor liver transplant and no government organization, no hospital-initiated coordination center for cadaveric donor processing. In living donor liver transplant started in 2014 at Ingo Clinic, Tbilisi, 5 centers, but now currently 2 centers is ongoing, AVEX in Batumi and Inova in Tbilisi. So all private clinic, total less than 50 cases have been done. The financial support started since 2018, last year, from regional government, Tbilisi government, and the amount is 60% of the total cost, but the budget is quite limited. So I'd like to talk some suggestion from outside. So before that, you know, compared to the living donor, cadaveric deceased donor is a correct terminology. Deceased donor transplantation, there is no ethical problem in donor, no risk in the donor, and technically it's much easier, and which means it's easy to set up independently. Therefore, deceased donor liver transplantation, deceased donor organ transplantation program should be installed urgently in Georgia, but the problem is how. This slide shows the number of deceased donation per million population in the world. The cadaveric donation rate of Georgia is nearly 0. The number of deceased donation was almost 10 in Korea, which is the highest PMP donation rate in Asian countries. The Korea, like the Georgian people, the Korean people also was very negative for organ donation. And then how can we overcome that kind of mentality and psychological obstacles? I would like to give an answer. This is some theoretical story, but to initiate a successful deceased donor transplantation program, the several infrastructures need to be implanted. There are 2 main requirements in the legislative framework. In the law, operation requirement and regulatory requirements should be included. to fulfill operational requirement, healthcare infrastructures, organ procurement organization, we call the OPO, and the NGOs responsible for public education and organ allocation system. To fulfill the regulatory requirement, regulation and coordination structures and the database system are needed. The infrastructures can be practically reclassified into 5 essential components: law, legislation, national authority for organ transplantation, OPO, organ procurement organization, NGO for public education, and transplant center. Currently in Georgia, only 2 components are incompletely established. This is a Korean experience. After several years' effort, we enacted organ transplantation law in 1999. This initial legislative action defined 3 things: the brain death for organ donation, and contains the concern of organ trafficking, and provide the basis of establishment of National Organ Transplantation Authority, CONUS. The CONUS is a government agency. Its role is updating nationwide waiting list, allocation of diseased organ, approval of living donor liver transplant, collecting a transplantation database, change the organ transplant related policy, and so on. This graph shows the annual number of deceased donation in Korea. As you can see, the number of deceased donation is quite small in 2000. But after law, CONUS here, CONUS established, and CONUS distributed organ according to the nationwide waiting list. Therefore, there is no drive for each center, transplant centers, to recruit potential brain death donors. There is some sudden drop down. So Korean government started to give organ incentive to the donor procurement hospital. At least 1 kidney is located to the patient in the donor procured hospital. After that, organ transplantation rate was slightly increased. However, it is literally some expedient decision, it's political decision. It's not a medical decision. Because at the time, Korean government had only regulatory system. There is no independent or government-initiated organization for donation promotion and the donor managing. Each donor managing hospital, so-called HOPO, hospital-based OPO, take the OPO role at that time. There is another the step up, the why. There is some event, donation by celebrities. This famous boxer and Catholic cardinal donated their organs in 2008 and 2009. After that, public awareness increased suddenly. And finally nowadays, there are many NGOs to promote organ donation in Korea. However, it is not enough. Korean government revised the first initial law in 2010. As you can see here, there is a rapid increase of organ donation after that. Revision contains 3 additional things. The first one is they provide the basis of establishment of independent OPO and adopt a reporting system of candidate donor, and also they provide the basis of establishment of national database. Let me explain a little more about that. The first is IOPO. We established KODA, Korean Organ Donation Agency, financially supported by government, but it's an independent organization. The role of KODA is brain death donor management and the coordination of organ procurement procedure in the donor hospital. Also, KODA developed a potential donor network, and KODA has its own lab and database, and also organized domestic and international forum. There are 5 offices in 3 regions, and it has a central lab in Seoul. They visited regularly 417 potential donor hospitals in whole Korea. There are 84 staffs, including 56 procurement coordinators. By the revised law, the mandatory reporting system was adopted. If potential brain donor was not reported to the KODA, the doctor will get penalty. There is a lot of resistance, especially neurosurgeon society, against this law. However, now the penalty system was shifted to DIP system, the DIP, Donor Procurement Program. Let me introduce a little more about DIP. So now currently notification system is well established in Korea. Therefore, if potential donor is developed in the hospital, the medical person can easily notice to the National Reporting System, NRC, via a DIP link. If they notice to KODA, KODA coordinate immediately dispatch it and evaluate the patient together with local doctors. And if patient is potentially brain death situation, KODA start to management and takes all responsibility of medical treatment, family communication, and the financial aspect as well. For local doctors and nurses, their burden is much reduced. After donation, KODA visit the doctor hospital again regularly and review the cases with local doctors and nurses. This is summary of disease donation flow in Korea. So the KODA promote and manage cadaveric donor, and the corners distribute the organs according to the nationwide waiting list, and transplantation center harvest and transplant the donor organs. Now I'd like to move to the higher item, organ transplant registry. There are several famous transplant registry, like SRTR in the US, CTS in Europe, but we have a core TRI. So we prospectively collect quite detailed information about organ transplantation, including post-operative survival, complication, type of immunosuppression, and so on. And also, we collected the patient's serum and urine prospectively. It can provide not only current status of transplant, but also evidence of government policy and research. This is summary of current system of organ transplantation in Korea. We have now full set of system. We have law, corners, IOPO, CODA, and a lot of many NGOs and many, is almost 100 transplant centers. In Georgia, this one, National Authority for Organ Donation, so-called GONOS, is urgently needed, and increase the GODA, here, GODA, and the NGOs to increase public awareness for organ donation are urgently needed and needed as well. That's it for now. Thank you. If not, my lecture can be some important basis to establish some legislative framework. Thank you very much.
Because I said actually that the ceremonial part was over, but not quite, because we have the last ceremony to conduct, and this is awarding to Professor Kwon Wong Lee the honorary doctorate of Ilia State University, and it's my pleasure, honor to do so. Just a moment. There are some regalia and